Hello and welcome to the second week of the Risen Dominate Open. Today we have Skidz versus Silverwing Screechers. I'm joined here today by Rooktor. Sorry to mess your name up. How you doing today, man?
That's all right, Lemons. Thank you very much. I am having an excellent evening. Looking forward to this second week bash between these two teams. We didn't see Skidz play last week, but Silverwing Screechers. Oh, sorry, we didn't see Silverwing Screechers play last week, but Skidz unfortunately lost their week one. We are now in Champion Select. Currently, the bans have been Shen, Cassiopeia, and Yasuo on the side of Skidz, and Silverwing Screechers have banned Lucian, Kha'Zix, and Vladimir.
And just as we were talking about, as we were getting ready for this broadcast, we see some of these high-profile picks from these compositions taken off the board, especially looking at the Shen, the Cassiopeia, and the Lucian, as well as some of the other high-profile picks who are huge carries now in this day and age of League of Legends. But I like to see that they've done their research. They know what they're looking to target ban. They know what they want to take out of the game.
Yeah, definitely for Screechers, they like to play an assassin-heavy jungler, so banning out that Shen in the top lane puts a little bit more pressure and flexibility removed away from their side to be able to have a cohesive comp. They've gone for the Nautilus here as a support, so nice engage to allow that jungler to be able to exploit the map in a slightly more desirable. They've actually picked up the J4. They can go fairly offensive with that warrior enchant and try to look to play that lethality build if they choose to.
Well, I like the all-in coming out of Silverwing Screechers right now. They have a lot of mobility, but as well as a lot of lockdown. And coming out from Skidz, you do have the first pick Xayah, which is that super late game hyper carry who still has that strength in the early game as well as that mid game. And when you pair it up with the Leona that we might see locked in here, which we will see locked in here, that is a deadly combo that can really take down anything that comes up against it.
Yeah, this is definitely butting heads in the bottom lane. You know, you've got two melee supports here that are really going to go head to head. You can definitely expect to see a lot of jungle attention down there. They're really going to look to lock down their opponents and see Xayah being able to just have that feathers and just be able to retract some of that CC that is going to come down from that lockdown. Is going to be very important. Echo pickup, slightly flexible, can play that in the jungle and in the mid lane. So I like that as their third pick.
Well, and for Jalingo, we do see a huge win percentage there for that Echo in the jungle. And he's seen a huge rise recently just because of the buffs that he's gotten across the board, really. And that early game strength that he has, he does really well against a lot of top tier junglers right now, especially the J4, especially the Sejuani. You can really go head to head with them and do well throughout the entirety of the game. And then when you get to late game as Echo, you just burst anybody and you pretty much cannot die because of the ultimate. So I'm going to look at that as the main power pick right now for this team. You do have this bot lane who's looking really, really strong, but that Echo is going to be a key piece to this team comp.
Yeah, right now, both of their damage dealers on Skidz have ways to get out of that bullet time. That's going to be really important cooldown to watch on the map. As you know, Xayah is going to be able to outscale with those auto attacks, so that ultimate needs to be key here coming out.
Yeah, it really does. And then we see the misfortune locked in there for Silverwing Screechers. And that bot lane is going to be pretty strong there with that Nautilus. And I really like the kind of stand back and poke approach for the misfortune in the early game, especially against the Xayah, who's trying to get those feathers under you and trying to get the pullback. You can kind of stand off and be a little bit more protected as the misfortune, especially when you have a Nautilus backing you up. And against the Leona Xayah, Leona does have to go all in on you. And Nautilus is really good at taking the pressure she's giving and stopping it right there. So I think this bot lane is going to be very heavily contested, and it's going to come down to mechanical skill and the execution by the teams.
Yeah, just wondering what we're going to see here in the top lane Rumble. Maybe we might see a Kled answer to that. What are your thoughts? But that is a lot of lockdown here. You get that Cataclysm out, that Misfortune ult, and the Rumble ult layered over that. Lots of AoE damage, heavy teamfight presence.
Well, yeah, and just looking a little bit at these players and how they want to play, I do expect for more aggression to come out in these later picks, especially in that top lane for Skidz. And we do see that Qiyana looking to get locked in, and it does go ahead and get locked in. That's going to be a huge pick for them, and looks like they're just going straight damage here right now.
Yeah, actually has 100 rank games with Qiyana already, so definitely like racked up the mileage on that, going to be very proficient on that champion. And we'll have to see what Jangalo can offer to the table here. This is a heavy assassin comp, though, with that Echo and with that Kiana. So they really need to get ahead, get their teeth in, and really try and lock down these slightly immobile Misfortune and Rumble picks.
Yeah, and that's what I like so much about Silverwing Screechers right now is just the mobility and the team fight that they have. I mean, you layer the Rumble ultimate with the Misfortune, it's going to be destroying the enemy team. And I like to see the setup. You just got to execute in those team fights and be able to get them into the positions that you want to do. And we do see the Silas to round out the composition. Now, that is a ton of AP, but still welcomed. And I'm going to expect the Rumble to be in that top lane and the Silas to be that mid. So that's going to be a very interesting matchup on both of those lanes.
Yeah, being able to utilize a lot of ultimates here on the side, like the Chrono Bait to be able to not die, the Feast, granted, won't be amazingly powerful, but it'll definitely stack a fair amount of AP behind that. So we'll do a lot of chop damage down onto one of those squishies. Particularly Kiana has to watch out for that when they go in. So fighting around the river with that Kiana, a lot of lockdown potential. As you said, so many stuns coming out on the side of Skidz that they have a lot of lockdown for these potentially immobile carries of Rumble and Misfortune.
Yeah, and then you kind of have that safe bet in the top lane with the Cho'Gath. Now, he is going to have a little bit of issue, depending on what matchup he goes, which I'm expected to be that Rumble. But he is going to have a little bit of issue in that top lane. But if he can get out unscarred and start stacking up his growth when he gets to level 6, he really can be that good key team fighter for their team in those later game team fights because of the tankiness that he's going to bring and that CC that you were talking about. And when you can CC and kind of distract the enemy team, while your Kiana, your Echo, and your Xayah are doing a ton of damage, you're going to win those team fights probably, I'd say, like 90% of the time. And looking on the other side for Silverwing Screechers, your composition is all about that team fight. You're really looking to either pick out members or just all around murder ball that. And so I'm really excited to see how this early game is going to play out and see where these junglers really want to put a heavy focus on.
Yeah, as you said, Cho'Gath, whichever matchup he ends up playing into, will probably have that losing matchup in the early game, but he just wants to stack up those few stacks, be that front-heavy tank line, and allow space for Kiana and Echo to find the right window into the team.
Exactly. And looking at where these picks have kind of started to develop, we do have that Echo in the jungle, the Kiana in that mid lane against the Silas, and then the matchup we were talking about with the Rumble and the Cho'Gath in the top lane. So really, I do feel like this draft is favored on Skidz' side. I do think that the Echo wins out on the Jarvan, especially if he can get under his skin early game and really keep pace with him. But it's going to be up to Silverwing Screechers to kind of show us that this composition they put together, and one that maybe they've been practicing for a while, is going to really be effective for them and play towards their strengths. Because I think that's the biggest thing, especially in this league, is that you've got to find something that works for your players. And if you don't, it's going to show. But if you've been practicing, you've been working together, you've got the communication on a level that works in game, you're going to be able to execute well, and this team comp is going to shine through.
Exactly, Lemons. So what do you think your predictions would be for this this team?
It's going to be all about Snowball, but I think that if everybody can stay true and hold out, I think that Skidz might take this game and might be able to bring us with a win starting off here.
Yeah, I think if Jalingo can play around that bot lane, get that Kiana roaming as well, they can have a really good snowball push around that bottom lane, secure that first dragon, maybe look to take Rift Herald and really try and rotate around the map, get that Cho'Gath out of laning phase quickly, and hopefully play around the power spikes that they can create for themselves.
Exactly, and it's really, I'm just so interested. I'm a jungler myself, and I love looking at jungle paths and in the variety that we have now in League of Legends as the junglers to go where you please, and you can choose your paths pretty early on. So I'm really looking for Jalingo to put some pressure on early onto Kung Fu Dugong, but it's going to be about what lane he wants to press. Obviously, we don't know from the outside what their communications are like, but I'm expecting for him to focus, at least for Jalingo's side, for him to focus around that mid and that bot lane, because those are the lanes I'm looking for him to try and get ahead. Now for Kung Fu Dugong, I do expect a little bit more of the same, but if he does get the Rumble ahead in that top lane and can get that immobile Cho'Gath down, he will have a strong power point from that rumble coming from the top lane, being able to withstand a lot of pressure and put a lot of pressure out onto the map as well.
Yeah, as you said, like if you can get that rumble ahead, get that double penetration going, and that Jarvan assist up in that top lane, you can really look to pressure the mid game, particularly around those open objectives where you're not looking to really like tower dive. But I'm sure when the tanking just comes through. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. And so we're going to go ahead and cut to a little break here, get through this spectator delay. Do not touch that browser, as we'll be right back with game 1 of Skidz versus the Silverwing Screechers. Hello and welcome back to the second week of the Risen Dominate Open. Today, again, we do have Skidz versus the Silverwing Screechers. Brooktor, who are you taking in this game?
I like Skidz. I think their mobility is going to win out over that bullet time, and hopefully they'll be able to slowly win that matchup with the Cho'Gath, and he can just be a split push monster. Really nice that he's taken grasp into that rumble as well. Hopefully he'll be able to trigger that a little bit and be that massive front line involved where MF will struggle if they do go that sort of lethality route.
Well, and
I can learn to understand you much better if I can get familiar with the way you talk.
Going for that late game, most likely a lethality style build on the MF, and that can do pretty well against the Xayah as well. So I'm looking at that bot lane now even more, especially at Taixo, who feels like he has the strength to pull the Dark Harvest into this game.
Yeah, you know those two melee supports, they are going to be butting heads. They are going to be looking players onto the AD carries and just trading those aftershock cooldowns whenever they can if they find the right window for that. Fairly standard start though. They are both starting on that bottom side, red and blue respectively, and they'll just go back to lanes normally.
Yep, and we're going to see a lot of typicalness coming out here in the early game. Nothing crazy. Both teams wanting to start this game off on the right foot and not do anything that's going to get them caught out or get them in any trouble.
Yeah, full kill from the junglers actually, so we'll see them be top side at what about sort of like 320 if they want to contest that top skull crab.
Exactly, and I am looking honestly for them to try and do an early gank in the mid lane perhaps, and we'll have to see if they're going to be able to. I would expect it more from the Echo, who is going to hit that level 3 if he decides to go for the Raptors, but he also could just transition more into that blue buff. But we'll have to see which way he wants to go. Meanwhile, we do have a lot of pressure on this bot lane from Taixo and Tycer, who are playing the very aggressive stance bot lane, and honestly coming out a little bit better for it. They're already almost 10 CS in the lead, and here in the top lane, we have a nice little skirmish.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure in the bot lane, actually hitting that level 2 power spike first and just ramming it into tower. Already up 5 CS, which is a wave as well, but you are looking at Echo, maybe looking for this mid lane.
Yeah, and just like I said, he's looking to try and get it.
Not going to be able to come in, going down the river. Red buff and blue is on Kung Fu, but he's just going to back out, and nothing's coming from that. Nice backing away into the jungle to safety.
Yeah, and seeing the other jungler there kind of dissuaded any aggressive attempts from Jalingo. But we do have Delal's here in the top lane.
Yeah, this is a 2v1, but he's actually looking. The flag and drag does come up, and that's Bust Blood over to Fierce Virus.
Wow, just a wonderful first blood going there to the Rumble. And here in the mid lane, Arch
As well, like looking for a knife, having to back away to the tower. Does have that corrupting potion just ticking over there.
And just nice plays coming out from the side of Silverwing Screechers right now. And they're able to put a lot of pressure on these lanes. Bot lane has gone more into an even trade scheme here at this point, but that is also because no junglers have been down to put any pressure down there right now. So we're looking at this mid and top lane as of right now as the big pressure points for either team.
Another gank into mid. Arch is managing to jump away back to the tower as well. It is very frenetic into the early game. Junglers really trying to attend their lanes up into the top and into the middle. Chaperone coming up to secure this second Skull Crab as well. Means that Kung Fu may be looking for a little bit of a steal. Not going to find it though, still has the flag and drag to get away if needed.
Yeah, and just showing his face there, just kind of trying to show that he's not letting it go without knowing about it. And back into this mid lane here, we do see Naive in the aggressive posture here, more towards his enemy tower, but it does look like Kung Fu is gonna go towards this top lane again.
Yeah, exactly. But look at the vision down in the river for Skidz here. They are really looking to play around this bottom side potentially. Also, you have Echo going to that bottom side as well, playing to where they feel like they have strength onto the map.
And I do really like to see the vision being played so strongly, honestly, from both teams. I mean, you have a little bit of a double ward there for the side of Silverwing, but they still have some vision across the river and are able to see movements like that. And we did see Kung Fu try to go for that top lane, but the wave wasn't pushing far enough for him to get a gank in. So he's going to go ahead and get the Krubs and look to go back soon. Ooh.
Yeah, if Dialis stops kind of pushing, he can actually form a nice retip. But in the bottom lane, Echoes, Gianglo looking to get in. He manages to drag himself to the wall, but he is locked up, forces the flash.
And almost a lot coming up there for Jalingo. Just trying to see if he can get anything going. Both junglers not really able to do much, with Kung Fu being able to pick up an assist there. But they are looking to try and get something as much as possible. I mean, these repeated ganks.
Looking to play up to the top side. The Cho'Gath has been pushed out. The Rupture's there. He actually gets a double Rupture, but he has to flash away from the Flag and Drag. He gets out. But as we said, like, the Echo wants to play towards the bottom side of the map, and they are looking to progress this Rumble ahead of the curve. So if you're Dialis, maybe just push back, let the wave farm to you, and just try and play a little bit safer in that bottom. But down in the bottom lane, the Ignite come down. Yeah, Misfortune is having to run away, and Chaperone's very low on the retreat.
And just tons of summoner spells being used across the rift here so far. And it's going to mean that there are going to be kills coming over here pretty soon, because when you take advantage of those summoner spells being down, you do come away with kills, especially as the Echo and the Jarvan. So I'm really, even though they've been trying these last 5 minutes to get ganks in, these next few minutes are going to be key, and I expect kills to start coming over pretty quickly.
Yeah, right, you are, Lemons. We already have that Haunting Guys finished up in that top lane. We were talking about that penetration in the early game of the Rumble. On his way there, but Gianglo looking to play into the bottom side. The Zenith Blade lands. Cesar has to run away. He gets back to his tower, but he is solo. He's going to have to recall on that one.
Yeah, bot lane looking very unhealthy right now. Both sitting pretty low, with Taikzo going ahead and backing. And you did see Kung Fu try to come down towards the bot lane to do something, but he didn't come away with anything. Now he's looking to gank in the mid lane.
Yeah, they're coming onto Naive. The Flag and Drag actually going to miss. He traces back down to the tower. Gonna use that supreme display of talent and get away from the gank there. That was very nice.
Supreme display of talent indeed. Just great play there from Naive, who is subbing in today. And I like to see that they are going to be able to dissuade this pressure a little bit. You have a lot of fight coming up here in this mid.
Yeah, Dialis now posturing towards the bottom. Flag and Drag to get away from the fight. I don't think Silverwing won it. Just gonna reset on the map, but grouping up, nice pressure. A lot of a frenetic game just for a 0-1 scoreline.
Exactly, and it's very close for being such aggressive teams. And like I said, I do expect there to be a lot of kills coming over quickly, but not until these first item spikes start coming through. You do see the dirt there picked up for Misfortune, so definitely going that lethality build that we've seen so often recently. But these power spikes are going to come a little bit later. It costs a little bit more. And you see that nobody is really at that point yet. Obviously, we're still 8 minutes and 30 seconds of the game. You want to look towards about 10 minutes for those first items or so. And so coming up in that time, I do expect to see more aggression coming out here.
Levin, something that I would like to see, if there is a TP discrepancy between that Rumble and the Cho'Gath. The window is cloning very fast on that, so they haven't really utilized that very well. But maybe if Gianglo looks to make a play on the bottom side, they do have the way pushing though. But maybe they could turn that with a TP from that Rumble.
Well, and honestly, for Festivus, I believe he's playing it more as a response kind of TP. He's waiting for Dalals to mess up and use that TP into his advantage. Yeah, he does have the advantage over him right now, but I think he's waiting for the right moment. But here we are.
Oh, does Dialis actually have the mana for this? I think he might be able to get the feast down. Lands a slow Rupture, not going to land, but hit Kong. Save the day, has got the red buff on. Just needs to block it. Lands that Flag and Drag onto the window. Dialis in a world of pain right now. Just going to get burned down. Cataclysm going to get punctured. And that will be Festivus picking up his second kill of the game.
Yeah, nice little snipe there from the Rumble to pick up the kill, and that's more gold into his pockets. He's going to be super close to being able to finish the Leandries there, and that's going to be a huge damage increase for him against that Cho'Gath. And looking across the board, we're pretty even on CS. There's nobody that's really in the lead, so these kills are meaning even more minute by minute.
Yeah, Silverwing as well, going with that lethality, looking for that slightly more early game Misfortune build, and hoping that the Dark Harvest will sort of like stagger that into the late game. But a lot of MR being built suitably into the Silas and the Rumble in the solo lanes is probably going to be that split pusher in the late game. But that penetration is going to come through from that MF in the early team fights.
Yeah, and I do think it's a little bit interesting that the side of Silverwing Screechers, their plan has worked so well so far. They've been very close in the lanes that they haven't been focusing, and they're winning the lane that they are focusing. So to see them executing this well is very good for this game for them. Now, on the other side for Skidz, I expected them to execute a little bit better than they have so far, especially with these high-profile picks that they picked. Now, they need to execute better in these fights, and they need to have a little bit better communication going through their team.
Yeah, they're actually looking for the Cloud Drake right now, but Jalingo's into the pit. He's a little bit alone, but Archer's actually getting singled out here. They're now onto the Misfortune. The Ignite is down, having to run away. The Chaperone very, very low. Bullet time doesn't really do too much as Jalingo gets the first kill of the fight. Kung Fu now having to flash away onto that. Humanity gets punctured up, but Festivus is chasing him down. Humanity gonna fall. Festivus cleaning up the end of that fight, and they'll go back to the Cloud.
Yeah, and they're going to be able to take up this objective for free. There's not going to be any contest coming out. And what did we say that is scary when we first got into these games? It is a fed Rumble, and sitting 4-0 is going to feel real nice if you're sitting in that top lane.
Oh yeah, very much so. That really gives them purchase in that side lane as well. We said that Jarvan was ahead. He's actually got the Warrior as well, so looking for that punishing play.
And Cho'Gath definitely getting some good gold off this top lane and some farm as well. Went ahead and went up a decent amount and got some gold for himself. Now, that's nothing like having 4 kills, but it is going to give you something for that top lane at least. Now, we did see Rumble buy a few more pieces to his items. He finished his boots as well, so didn't go for the full item complete, but went more for a smorgasbord of items there as well. So he's going to complete that item soon, but just not yet. We do have the Yumu's, the Hextech belt, and like you had said, the Warriors completed for the jungle, mid, and ADC on the side of Silverwing, and a couple items as well, actually coming across the board for the side of Skidz, which is going to have that first item spike that we were talking about.
Yeah, now you want to really see play focused around that bottom lane. You know, you want to get that Kiana roaming. You have the TP on Arch as well, being able to respond to that if they need to. Rift Herald also available, but I reckon they'll probably play around that bottom lane a little bit more. Jangalo just looking to cheat topside. Maybe they can look to get Rumble back on the rotation if he looks to play, but Festivus is looking for mid. Maeve having to chase back. There is the Rumble ultimate. Not going to be able to get too much on that equalizer, but gets that purchase in the lane. Now he has to be careful going back to his own tower.
This bot lane, though.
Oh, sorry. I missed that, but the Chaperone just falls. Bullet time comes out. That'll be a depth charge as well, just pushing the bot side back. Humanity now has to be fairly careful. Only 20% health there. But Rumble can't get back to lane. He's losing a hell of a lot of farm here in the top lane for this play.
Ooh, good play by Nave.
Naive as well, having to run away. Lands are slow. Arch in hot pursuit here. Chasing forwards, gonna pick up the kill.
And Silverwing Screechers just playing so well across the board and just executing on a dime. You like to see the communication coming across, starting at the top and working its way all the way to that bot lane where they are going to try and pick up these turrets. They did get 4 of the plates there. They aren't going to finish it off. It's so close, but they know that they have the enemy team coming for them. They're not able to do it.
Has to run away here as well. Yep, it's definitely happening. Trading around the map. They end up getting the tower. That's going to fall. Not overextending for that Ghost Blade, just to run away from that as well. But a lot of pressure around the map. As you said, Silverwing having an excellent early game, getting that Rumble ahead, rotating it around the map, and Misfortune now looking strong.
Yeah, now sitting at almost 30 CS ahead of the Xayah. Now, Xayah does have a wave closing in on her now, but it's not going to get her that close to that lead. And that's looking good for the Misfortune, who is really, like we said at the beginning, looking to get to the late game. And so far, you're doing pretty well at staying alive and staying healthy for that late game. So I like to see the items coming through for her and the survivability as well with that Nautilus duo.
Just keeping ahead of the curve with the stacks here on the Misfortune as well. Only up to 3 Dark Harvest, so struggling a little bit there, but there's a trade in the mid lane. Arch looking to take the play here, but Chaperone's there in hot pursuit as well. Actually gonna steal the ultimate away from the Chaperone. Gonna be used against the own team. Forces the Feather Storm there as well, but that's gonna be humanity falling against sideways. They are going in again and again, looking brutal here. They've got Rift available to them if they need, but they're looking for this mid tower.
Yeah, and I thought Delals was going to get caught out right there. Unfortunate for the Chaperone, who just has to watch while his team gets decimated using his own ultimate. He literally stepped in to help them out, and all he did was give Arch the tools to take them down.
Exactly. We have Dragon spawning fairly soon as well. Misfortune picking up that farm in the bottom lane. It is all going well for SS right now.
Yeah, so far so good on that front, sitting at almost a 5k gold lead as well, and really just able to do what they want on this map at the moment. Now, that is not to say that Skidz don't have
Misfortune actually caught out here, gonna have to find that flash. Very quick response there.
All it takes is one mess up just like that. If he didn't have flash there, that was your ADC gone, and that's down the hole as well. So I'm really excited to see what Skidz is going to bring to the rest of this game, because I do think they have a chance. You do have some hard scalers on your side. You just have to make it to that point and not let this gold lead get any further ahead than it already is.
Yeah, definitely a little bit risky with those two melee kind of assassins with the Kiora or the Echo, but they have a lot of burst damage even when a little bit behind, so they can definitely execute the immobile Misfortune like they did in that team fight in the river. Mountain Drake is up. That is the next priority here for the teams.
Yep, and we should see, like we were talking about, a huge priority over this dragon, just because now the Mountain Drake is so nice to have. And supreme display of talent taken over by Arch, and we'll have to see if he's going to be able to use that one very well, because that's a huge teamfight ultimate. They already have a huge, great teamfight team, and to add that ultimate to it is even scarier.
Yeah, particularly in the river, that is very lethal. So nice to steal there as well.
We know the next fight's going to be coming around around the dragon as well, so that gives him a ton of viable options to use that ultimate.
Echo could steal with this, but maybe the chrono break, but they're not going to look for the fight there.
Nope, just give up that Mountain Drake. That's a ton of pressure going over to Silverwing Screechers because of what the Mountain Drake gives you. Now for Skidz, you've got to find another place to make up some gold. You've got to get back to farming, and you've got to make sure that the pressure in your lanes is not overbearing, and that you're able to kind of get back out onto Summoner's Rift and not get stuck in your corner of the map.
Yeah, exactly, Lemons. So for the next objectives, they have to... I doubt it's actually going to end up being taken, and they can mismatch the back timings here. Zaya's going to be looking to go for that top wave as well, so maybe looking for more pressure there. Echo in the bottom, so they're just trying to rotate around the map here. What's up?
He's still hitting him, and Nave's getting taken down by Arch with the ultimate.
The TP coming out. Arch gonna get Zenith Blade on this. TP is gonna be bad. He has to run back to his team. Festivus is gonna have to run Equalizer, just stopping the retreat there. Cataclysm coming out. Kung Fu having to chase down Dialis. Not gonna be there, but here comes Angelo. He's gonna get caught up as well. Unable to chrono bait, get CC'd up by the Nautilus, and now they have license to push mid.
And there's just nothing you can do. You're taking bad fights over and over again. You're undermanned and undergunned, and you have nothing in these fights that's looking well for you. And you haven't been in a 5v5 for almost this entirety of the game. And I feel like that's the big detriment to the side of Skidz right now, is they have such a strong composition, but they have to be able to play together. Now, the side of Silverwing is going to try to burn down this Rift Herald pretty quickly, and it looks like they are going to be able to.
Yeah, I think so as well. Like, Silverwing have such a great 5-man team right now with that Equalizer and Bullet Time that they can really control objectives. They can look to even use it as a zoning tool around towers to take more objectives around that way. We've got Baron spawning in 30 seconds as well, so it is all to play here for the Silverwing Screechers. Chaperone maybe looking for a pick.
Trying to find something for his team. But with this gold lead kind of bubbling up here, we're at about 6k. I mean, your mental is a little bit taken apart here as the side of Skidz. You've got to stay in this game though, because this is a best of 3 series. You've got to do as much damage as you can.
Yeah, an issue for Skidz right now as well is that the Echo neither or the Kiora are ahead, so their assassination 100% potential is a little bit riskier. So they're going to need team support, they're going to need to have a coordinated dive. That just means that their composition's that much harder to execute. But you know what you're looking for on the side of Silverwing Screechers. You're just looking to group up, land that Cataclysm, overlay that CC, and get the job done.
Well, and the thing is you can play so safe as the Silverwing Screechers here because you can wait for them to mess up. They are so far behind that you can wait for them to go in.
Oh, this is the flash orgy angle. I think he can get down. The misfortune gonna happen as well, but the equalizer comes out top. That's probably gonna be a burning Cho'Gath there. They're now looking for more if they can find it, but they're just gonna rotate up to the top side. Bit of a trade there.
Yeah. Good job getting the misfortune caught out there by Jalingo and able to get out as well. But the Cho'Gath does go down in the 1v2 in the top lane, and now we have the Rift Herald up here who's gonna try and take this tower.
Yeah, they have to be careful of the Cho'Gath TP actually, because they could be caught in a 4v5 if they wanted to trade it, but unfortunately Humanity just picking up that farm in the bottom lane, so it would just be that 4v4. Managing to trade turrets as well, so that is kind of like worth it for losing that Rift.
Yeah, and I'm not upset at Humanity for staying in that bot lane trying to farm. He is the late game carry for this team right now because he does have the least damage to his numbers, and he's able to actually he's about to crest that second item. So he's really going to be that team fight damage coming through behind the Leona and behind the Cho'Gath. So I don't think that it's wrong to try and get ahead in your farm right now when you do have a moment to spare.
Yeah, for the next team fight as well, I think we'll probably be around Baron. We have double stopwatch available for the Jarvan and Festivus. So a lot of playmaking potential there. It is all coming together for the Silverwing. They just have to be a little bit careful. Did lose that MF in the transition.
And I think it comes down to your team fight execution there for Silverwing Screechers, because you've got to make sure Taixo doesn't get caught out. You've got the tools to protect him in these fights, but you've got to be careful on where he positions himself. And a lot of that comes down to communication and making sure you're all on the same page. As we do see another dragon coming up, and this one is going to be an Ocean Drake, so it's going to be a very, very high priority for both of these teams.
Yeah, that'll really help just for that regeneration, staying out on the map, being able to contest for an extended period. Yeah, no, this is just going to be given up. Django isn't even going to look to come over a bit. Tysus just staying nicely just as a bodyguard, just in case he tries something as well. Lock him down. If he does die there, they can potentially take the Baron as well, which would be really nice.
And that's 3 free dragons given over to Silverwing Screechers. You did get some nice push in the top lane from Delal's, but he is a little overextended right now, and it does look like Silverwing Screechers is going to push up towards that area.
23 minutes and only 4k down actually. Oh, as Humanity having to pop that Feather Storm, now going to get crashed upon and absolutely decimated.
There's just nothing you can do in that point. Tried so hard. Did have the flash still, so there might have been an opportunity for a summoner play, but just wasn't able to pull it off, and honestly probably consigned to his fate there in the bot lane when you're up against that Sylas. So another kill going over to Arch, and he's getting so strong, about to have finished another item as well. And we do see those 2 item power spikes coming through for Silverwing Screechers, especially with the Dustblade completed for that MF.
As well, they didn't really take too much of an objective outside of that. They just picked up a little bit of extra farm though. Pressure into that bot lane, as you said. Like Arch does have that teleport. That bottom T2 also looking very, very low. But they need to start to move up the tempo a little bit if they can. Just try and pressure around that Nasher, get that vision up, and see if they can play around that.
Well, and I do think that they are playing the more controlled approach to this game, and they're not taking the risks that maybe they would take otherwise. And to be honest, it's kind of refreshing. It's kind of nice to see a team methodically playing out their strategy and trying to make it all work in the best way possible without giving up too much. I mean, they've had a steady lead this entire game. They've been able to control the map in these objectives. They've been able to be where they need to be to counter push against Skidz. And so I think they're really playing this game very well. They could go faster, but I like that they're taking their time.
Yeah, Dialis has gone triple magic resist now as well, really looking to try and contest those sideways, but you know that MF ult is going to pack a punch if that doesn't get interrupted with that rupture or solar flare.
Yeah, I like to see the positioning here. It does look like...
Oh, he's coming over. He's looking for Festivus right here. Kiana's actually in hot pursuit. Gonna pop that Yumo's Ghostblade, but he's already out of there.
Yeah, and we have a lot of skirmish. A lot of skirmish here towards this Baron pit as well. With Kung Fu Dugong just trying to get in there as quick as possible. He almost went in on Jalingo, but just didn't have the vision for it there. Really, they're just waiting. It's so funny.
He's going over. Cataclysm onto 2 people right now. Forces Equalizer coming out as well. They're trying to contest the vision, as you said. They're looking for it, but that is a lot of ultimates expended.
A ton expended from the side of Skidz and from, or honestly, from the side of...
Oh, Solar Flare, flash away from Tyson as well. He's going to have to be careful, but Ghostblade in the prophecy as well. Archie gets Kung Fu as well. Going to look for that. Bullet time comes out onto Chaperone, but they go for Jangalo, going to pick up the first kill of the fight. And here comes the damage. This is the turn that Skidz needed. Jangalo under tower, now looking for Taser. He's not going to find too much. That's going to be a kill to the jungler. That definitely limits their potential on taking the nap.
I was gonna say that was such a good play from Skidz there. They're still gonna go for the Baron here, even though they have 2 members on the side of Silverwing. Let's see if they can do it. I don't think they will.
They can if Dialis has full HP, should literally just zone off Arch as much as possible. They are gonna step forward though. A little bit of an overreach there. I could see why they wanted it. They were like, this is a team fight that we won. Push forward, but definitely tower diving a full HP Nautilus under the tower. A little bit risky there.
Well, and just going over that team fight a little bit, it was a lot of miscommunication there from the side of Silverwing Screechers, where you had Tyso kind of caught out, and because of that, Arch got caught out, and Kung Fu Dugong got caught out, and then all of a sudden you try to return with these ultimates laying down, but you've got these assassins on your back line, and when you have a Kiana and an Echo, they're still gonna do enough damage to take you down, and that's what we just saw, that the non-tanky members get taken down so quickly by the side of Silverwing Screechers.
Well, we just saw Festivus use his Equalizer earlier on to look to make space around that Baron, so not having that key ultimate when they do sort of all in like that with the Echo and the Kiana, if they're looking for that, that's definitely detriment to the team, so hopefully they'll be able to reset their mental. Only 3k gold in it now, as a few of those shutdowns did come into play. 4th dragon on the map, going to be spawning. That's only a Cloud Drake though, so not overly important for the teams, but I'm sure one of them will be looking to pick it up.
And I do think that Skidz made good strides in getting back into this game. Now, that doesn't absolve them of their earlier transgressions, where they did give up this lead very, very largely. But it does show that they have the potential to take these team fights if they can position and mechanically play better than Silverwing Screechers. And we do have another Cloud Drake up, and it does look like Silverwing is going to try and start this up.
Yeah. I think you give that up, you get 1800 gold onto that Xayah, get that IE there, and then look to try and turn again for the fight. Like, try and hope that you don't lose the Baron before that and get forced into a situation where you're funneling in with their Equalizer. So they just kind of want to stall out a little bit if they can.
To be honest, right now, I feel like the weak link is Tyxo. He's gotten caught out 3 times already. When you are the damage dealer for your team and you need to be in that backline, if you get caught out by any of these assassins, that means that the team fight is most likely lost for you. You do have the Rumble, who has a ton of damage coming out of that top lane, but as we saw in that last fight, once MF went down, they really weren't able to take down anybody else and just slowly got picked off. So you've got to position better as the ADC and know where your teammates are playing from, because these next few minutes is going to be key to this game, because I do think that Skidz has an option to come into this game and possibly take it over.
Yeah, exactly. The assassins are scaling up. We've got 3 items on this Echo now. Playmaking potential with that Zhonya's Hourglass as well. Like, they are hitting those power spikes. When we do get that Infinity Edge on to Humanity, I think they potentially weathered the storm. As we said, gold lead pretty close. Drake's gone against them, but they can definitely look for windows back into this game.
Yeah, the only thing that can shut them down right now is the Baron, and it does look like Silverwing want to start this as either a bait or a force.
I think they saw Humanity in the bottom wave there. Got out a little bit into position. Doesn't have teleport on that AD carry. Now they're looking to turn onto the fight.
And good pull off there. It really is. Good timing and good availability from them there. And you do have Xayah coming up now to try and join the team.
Yeah, picked up that pickaxe. Doesn't have that IE just yet, but any stalling that Skidz can do to stop them taking this Baron within the next like couple of minutes, getting that farm onto Xayah is immensely beneficial to their team.
And just such a stalemate around this Baron pit. Neither team really wanting to commit. And I think now that Silverwing has seen themselves bleed a little bit, they're more scared to make even the simplest of plays right now, where they were not taking these risky plays. Now they're trying to consign to even more less risky plays, and so that's going to be huge coming up. But Jalingo just able to get away from Kung Fu there and able to delay
he's
even
actually
more.
Going to be caught out now. He is definitely in no man's land. He's got the tank, he's got the MR. Cataclysm comes out, really nice equalizer to stop any more advance. That's going to be a kill going there. Janglo actually going to fall as well. This is the advance that they needed. They're going forward. Featherstorm going to be picked up there, but now he's looking to retreat. Chaperone having to flash over the wall, gets taken down by a massive 700 crit from something. Wow.
That just got me so antsy there. I saw so many feathers on the ground, just didn't want to pull him back just yet. Humanity finally doing it, picking up a kill for himself. They aren't able to do Baron either. So yeah, you do lose a large portion of your team, but you're able to get out of it a little bit more unscathed than you would.
Yeah, we have that team fight. You would have thought like a 30-minute team fight. You can get objectives here. They're going to get a little poke onto this middle tower there. But a T2 tower for a 30-minute one team fight is a little bit slow. You really do want to start to be picking up the pace. As we said, this IE coming in for Humanity as well might make the difference. But really nice choke point there. Dialis trying to get back to his team, but just forcing the bad play.
Well, and we're getting to the point where these death timers are going to be really big, and if you do wipe a team, that means a ton of their base is going to go down. Now, you only have a couple towers taken down for the Silverwing Screechers, but if you're the side of Skidz and you get one of these big team fights and you're able to single out the Misfortune, you're able to get Arc off of his beat, and you're able to take these team fights, you can take down their base really quickly. So I'm looking for them to try and make these plays, albeit I need them to be careful on which ones they choose, because like that last time, the Law's getting caught out unawares really and surrounded by the enemy team cost his team so much there. Even though they did come out a little bit more even than they would have if they got their team wiped, it is scary to think that one catch out is going to mean the game.
Oh yeah, exactly. Coming on to fruition here. Actually going to be the third Cloud Drake, going to be spawning very soon, but just clearing out vision there. Arch actually gone for the Stole Sealer, and off that team fight got 10 stacks off that, so that's a nice cash in there on that advance. 6-1 and 4, a really nice scoreline for him. Playing very safe. A lot of great ultimates to steal as well in this game. So Chaperone getting stolen out and used very effectively in the mid lane and providing a lot of backup for the team. They are playing around this bottom side, actually looking for a pick.
Yeah, looking to try and bait them into this dragon. You do have Silas in the mid lane trying to distract them a little bit, but I just think it's so funny that the side of Skidz is playing more towards this Baron. They're so scared to give up a quick Baron, especially with the Mountain Dragon being on the side of Silverwing Screechers. They just don't want to go down.
They should trade for Baron right now. Like they should just bomb it if they can.
The thing is they don't have vision. They don't know where the enemy team is. They haven't been able to get out on the map, and they give up another free dragon. That is 5 dragons given over to the side of Silverwing Screechers. And if you're looking at your objective taking and your stats on that, you are very sad right now for the side of Skidz. But if they can come out with a win, if they can take these team fights, they come out on top.
If that rupture landed, there would have been trouble. Rumble bot lane with the TP though.
And just tons of back and forth here around the Baron pit. You do have the split pushing Rumble with the TP up. Cho'Gath does have his TP available as well, but he is around that Baron pit. So that side wave is going to get pushed in. We're going to have to see who wants to respond. I would say you need to send the Cho'Gath.
Just actually going to land onto this, because we've already said that, like getting caught out, having to burn his flash yet again before a team fight.
Yep, but if you play right as Misfortune, you shouldn't need to. You can be able to play back and be a little bit further back than you traditionally would. But there goes another tower on the bot lane, and we'll just have to see what the response is right now from Skidz.
Oh, they're looking for this flag and drag onto Giannis. He has the stone plate though, so he can live for a very long time. Coming in, actually really nice solar flare there coming in there. Oh. Lots of group up damage, and this is the play that Skidz wanted. Kung Fu gonna go in, but that's gonna be the GA. Really nice bullet time at the back end, but Chaperone's gonna fall double kill onto Tezo. He's in the back, this is where he wants to be. Gonna get chased down. Jalango trying to get some pressure on him, lands the slow. Pushing forward, Taser now having to run away, pulls back onto the pillar. He's running back, and that's a one team fight here for Skidz. Finally managing to pick up something. They're chasing down the support here. Very tanky Nautilus having to run back to the base, but they've created the space. They can get this mid tower down.
And great plays coming out from Skidz, really staying confident. But here, Dalal.
They're back in. They're back in. The Ignite's gone down. Taser's picked up the kill. Django's now covered it. And they didn't group. They overstayed, and it's back to square one.
Oh man, you do so well in those fights. You win a fight at 6k gold deficit, and then you do that and stay over. You're in the enemy base, and you get taken down by one of the stronger members on the enemy team. That cannot happen. You had the moment, you had the push in your hands, and you just gave it up, unfortunately. But they still did show that they won that team fight. Now it does look like Silverwing is going to try to start up this Baron.
Yeah, the resets are there again. They saw humanity into the bottom lane. I think that might be the full commit here on Baron.
Yep.
Kung Fu has a smite available. They're just going to wood up. That's a free objective over there. That's really nice. They need to look to push with this now and see if they can consolidate that. They have a really nice comp with that sideway pressure. Morello Nomicon as well now finished for the Rumble. Lots of damage there and available to be able to split push with.
Exactly, and tons of pressure coming out with that Baron. They did go ahead and get a nice little reset for a few of their members. GA being finished here for the MF, so even if she does get caught out now, she does have that replayability with the revive, and that's just scary when you're looking from the side of Skidz, because all you had for going for you was to try and pick out that MF. Now that she's sitting there with a lot more tankiness and the revive, your all in is not going to do anything, because you're going to all in and you're going to sit there and wait for Misfortune to come back. So these fights are going to be a lot different from here on out. Although they can still go heavily in favor of the side of Skidz, it's going to be a lot harder for them to execute.
Yeah, just to catch you back up, guys, we now got 11 stacks onto Dark Harvest. And we're already sitting actually on 6 V stacks, so Diala's struggling to be able to find purchase onto the players for the executes.
And sitting 23 to 11 now in the favor of Silverwing Screechers. They've got an almost 8k gold lead here, and it's just getting further and further away from Skidz. They had those bright spots, those bright moments. They were within 3k gold lead and taking team fights and winning them.
Oh, Conker's looking to go in. Cataclysm's down, and Tezo's gonna get the pickup. Here's the depth charge going on, flashed away from, but the Cho'Gath doesn't have the backup. The rupture's massive, but he's gonna fall. Stone plate and all going down. They've got the minion wave. They found the picks, and they're looking for the end here.
I think that this might just be it here. Silverwing Screechers taking the opportunity, taking the moment that they've been working for almost 40 minutes, Rook. And they're going to try and take this game right now. Respawn timer's still far away for the Kiana.
Chaperone's gonna see the blade in. He's looking for it. That's massive damage for humanity. Actually gonna find the pick as well now, having Chaperone still in the fight onto the back end. The Rumble's down. It's a double kill for humanity. Can he then carry the fight? Archer's down as well from Django. Now he's looking onto the MF. Humanity's gone absolutely epic, but it's the support. It's Taser looking to end it all. He's got the minions. Can he even push? But Cura's back. That was the first pick. Naive's gonna chase him down. He's already popped the Ghost Blade, is looking for the fillets. Can they absolutely mitigate this Baron? That's gonna be a miss ultimate. That display of talent gonna get depth charged away from, but the damage is almost there. He's really kiting away though. The shield comes up as well. He finds another hook. He's got the CDR and he's gonna get out.
I can't believe we just watched it. That's Spider-Man on Summoner's Rift? I don't even know what we're watching here. Marvel has come onto the Risen channel here. We have Nautilus the Spider-Man, and I cannot believe what we just watched. That was so close to being game point or game match for the side of Silverwing Screechers, but they give it up in the team fight. And that's what hurts the most for Skidz, is the fact that they are able to take these team fights. They've just given up too much at this point of the game to come back into it right now.
Yeah, this is actually dangerous territory, I think. Like 10k gold in it, yes, but you have a 4-item all crit 80 carry now with that scaling Zaya, as we said, potentially going to be a little bit more impactful if that bullet time isn't good. That's going to be a key ultimate to watch in the coming plays. Cho'Gath is going to be an absolute beast right now at 3.5 items as well, so they have the tools to be able to fight back. Skidz are doing that. They're looking to fight around this Drake.
Yeah, and it does look like Silverwing is just going to try and burn this down. They are not responding on the side of Skidz, and that's going to be an Elder Drake.
Yeah, Jagger actually going to look to the steal. Doesn't quite do it. Has to chrono bait back. Uses Equalizer going to be propped as well.
Wow, and that's a 5-dragon Elder Drake going over to the side of Silverwing Screechers, and you can see they're just running it down right now. They're looking to pick off as many members as they can with this power spike.
They can run down mid, they can run down bot, but I'm sure that they're going to force a team fight. Having that chrono breakdown for another 15 seconds, having that flash down on the Echo means that MF's even more safe to be able to push forward there. Equalizer still on cooldown though. Can they make a play? Here he goes. Kiona has to flash away. Bullet time doesn't really do too much here onto the back end, but where's Humanity? Humanity's on the back end. Abs the GA. That's going to be put onto the back end, but that slowed the fight down. That's giving MF time to kite around. Very low as well, but there's the pressure down. Humanity's back up, looking onto the Nautilus. Dialis has to run away as well. The lockdown's there. The Flag and Drag doesn't quite connect, but the Nautilus is going to get the kill. The knockups is there, and that's going to be the game over.
And after a whirlwind into this game, we finally get the result to game 1 of the series, and Silver Screechers take it kind of handily. They had a lead the entire game by almost 3k. Weren't able to close it out. So going into game 2, I expect Skidz to still have some confidence there.
Oh, exactly, Lemons. That was a fairly high tempo in the end game, as it was very calculated earlier on. A lot of posturing about the Baron trying to get that first one down, but in the end, it was the Elder Drake that sealed the deal.
It really was, and just the objective control in general coming out from Silver Screechers was magnificent, and we saw glimpse of the team communication and just how well it worked out for them. Now for Skidz, you need to clean up that early game. You've got to make sure to not give over the picks, because I do think that Humanity was playing very well on the Zaya, and if you can give him another strong pick and even more of a comfort pick, which we've seen he can play almost any ADC very well, that's going to give you a brighter side to this game. But you've got to make sure that your top and your mid lane are secure.
Yeah, and also as we commented on earlier, having those double assassins in the Echo and the Kuro, you need to get one of them ahead early to really have that presence to be able to get Zaya to that late game comfortable stage.
And just looking at them, at the compositions in general, I do think that you kind of stick with the same plan. I mean, obviously for Skidz, you want to change a few things up in your composition, looking more at that top and mid lane. But for both teams, I mean, they executed decently well. Things were pretty even for a little while until the snowball started. So, especially for Silver Screechers, figure out what pieces you need to exchange out that are going to give you that leg up there.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, we will be right back with Game 2 of the Dominate Week Open of Risen Esports. Looking forward to that, and we will be right back.
Hello and welcome back to the second week of the Risen Dominate Open. We are in the second match of this best of 3 series between Skidz and Silverwing Screechers, with Silverwing taking the first game by a decent margin there, especially towards the end. So welcome back, Rooktor. How are you feeling about this game 2?
Oh, well, if it's as lively as game number 1, definitely excited for that. The bans have come through. The only different ban has been Kha'Zix instead of Echo. So we might be seeing a Kha'Zix pick up here for the Silverwing Screamers. They have currently picked Nautilus, and Zaya again picked up for Skidz.
More of the same here going into game 2, and kind of what I was alluding to at the end of the last game is I do think a lot of pieces for these teams worked out very well, but you've got to insert other parts to make it a whole composition instead. We do see the Leona picked up as well again there for the side of Skidz. So that bot lane is going to be an exact matchup because we do see the Misfortune locked in. It's just running it back here.
Oh yeah, and the Jarvan pickup as well. This is carbon copy right now. You know the Echo, so we will see a little bit of variation. You can definitely expect Giangelo to be playing a more assassin role, so Kiana is up available. I mentioned Kha'Zix as well is something that he's definitely plays around. This AD carry for Skidz definitely does like that Lucian pickup, so that's been sort of perma-banned away from him, and if we do go to a game thing, definitely expect that. But Silas again picked up there, so
are we just running it back here?
Well, that's on the other side this time, Lemons.
Well, yeah, but I just love that all the same champions are being picked across the board so far. We do see the Rumble being banned out there from Skid. They do not want to go against that in that top lane.
Yeah, it is that kind of like meta pick potential right now that we're seeing the Jarvan pick up as well. Cataclysm used to great effect, definitely in the latter stages of the game as well, just to find that last few picks to be able to secure the Nexus victory over on the side of Silverwing Screechers. Last ban coming through will be the Kha'Zix. Yep. So that's been taken away.
You've got to take off that pick there. Kha'Zix is just so strong now and is such a huge snowball champion. You can do so much with him. So I am glad to see that still taken off the board there for him.
Yeah, Kiana going to get picked up yet again. Saw a little bit of light there for Kiana in those short corridors as well. The Rumble taken away, so can't really overlay that as well. Without that Cataclysm, though, without that like hard lockdown, we'll have to see how it plays up. Obviously, Leona can provide that lockdown as well, with the Silas being able to steal the Cataclysm if he wants to. So options there. Alawi in the top lane as well. That is a very good split pusher, able to flash into a team fight as well and cause havoc in the front line.
Although I do have to say, if you're sitting on that Silas, you are feeling pretty good. You've got a ton of high priority ultimates to take from the enemy team. And I do believe that Silas is most likely, in my opinion, going to go towards that jungle as well. So going to be very interesting to see what he can do on that pick, and if he's really going to be that game changer for them on it. But then again, it could be that Silas mid still. I mean, we did see all those, like you had said last game, all those games played on the Kiana jungle. So I do like the fact that they are able to put on different picks and keep them as flexes until the last moment. We did see the Corki locked in there for Silverwing, so a little bit different, but a ton of damage coming in that mid lane with the double ADC combo. And the Singed picked up by Skidz, throwing us a curveball here.
Yeah, not sure about that Shin's play up in the top lane. As we said, like their top lane is a sub for them today. So we don't have too many stats on his Sing's play, but that is a very specific pick, a very specific play style that you can play around it as well. So we'll have to see, but theoretically, like trying to avoid the Alawi in the side lane, just try and split push, try and maybe even proxy the wave against Alawi and a Jarvan though, and particularly Alawi has a lot of good wave clear as well, so can trade farm for farm.
Yeah, and obviously the pick is going to be different, and it's going to throw a wrench in the works of Silverwing unless they've practiced specifically against the Singed. But does it have enough to bring you over that mountaintop? Because last game was rough for almost every lane you had, and you haven't picked that much of a different composition here. You have a lot of the same pieces and a lot of the same motives for those pieces, especially like the Silas and the Singe, who will be playing a little bit like that Rumble did in the last game, where you're going to be focusing around that top lane and the split pushing, like you had pointed out. So it's going to be very hard on execution for honestly both of these teams, but it's going to be a lot about the mechanical skill level, which we saw both of these teams have the possibility of bringing to the table last game.
Yeah, I actually really like this Singe pick because the Screechers are a little bit lighter on CC than the last game. With that Corky pick in the mid lane, and obviously Alawi has that little bit of a slow, but apart from that, not a lot. So a lot of mobility, giving license to Sins to really run around the fights if he needs to. Also, if they do provide the CC towards that champion, that means that Kiana and Zaya have just license to be able to go in as deep as they like and can really try and like make plays and affect that around the map.
Exactly. And just looking at it, does look like we're going to have the Silas jungle with the Kiana in the middle. So that's going to give a little bit of a different matchup there. And honestly, I kind of like the Kiana into the Corky. So we'll have to see how Arch handles that matchup. But with the Silas in the jungle, that gives a lot more mobility to their team, as well as giving him access to all 5 of those ultimates, which are going to be key if they want to win these team fights.
Yeah, something to note is that Corky probably will have that push priority early against the Kiana. So if the Singed is trying to proxy or do any sort of like early shenanigans like that, then Arch can definitely react quickly and try and rotate first.
And I do like to see how they're going together with these combos. I think there's a lot of synergy on both of these sides in the way they're going to work together. I do see a lot of emphasis on the team fights, though, for the side of Silverwing Screechers, and that's going to be a huge priority for them, especially in the mid game. But if anything goes like the last game did for them, they're going to be just fine going into that mid game. It's going to be looking on the other side to see what Skidz can bring, and if they can get the early game started for themselves this time around, instead of being on the back foot the entire game.
Yeah, I kind of prefer Skid's lineup actually for this game, so I'm hoping that we'll get a game number 3 going. We'll see how that goes. Nai definitely needs to make plays around that bottom part of the map, and Giangelo probably needs to provide a little bit of focus there in the early game just to get Naive ahead so they can look to impact the side lanes.
Well, and I think that getting that mid lane rolling for both of these teams is going to be huge, because you have the mobility in that mid lane to roam to your side lanes and affect them in a positive way. So if you can get your mid lane rolling, if you can get those duo roams going with your jungle and mid and really affect those side lanes, especially I'm looking towards this bot lane to be affected a lot, then you can really swing the game in your favor and put it towards your side.
Yeah, exactly, Lem, as well. Looking forward to that. We do have the spectator delay right now, so we will be right back with the cast for week 2 of the Dominate Open Risen Esports League.
And I hope nobody touched that browser because we are back with game 2 of this series between Skidz and Silverwing Screechers, and it's looking like a good one. Rooktor, we see them going out onto the map looking to set up these line of skirmishes. What do you think about this game as a whole?
As I just said, I think Skidz are sort of trying to run it back with his double melee assassin in the mid and jungle, and if Corki Arch does get that free laning phase, I think they might be in a little bit of trouble. So I'm really looking for Naive to play creatively in this sort of first 15 minutes. And I'm just interested to see how Singed plays, because it's been a while since I've casted a Singed. Definitely know the propensity for it, and you always dread a game if you do see that sort of like split pushing proxy Singed and they can put it off successfully, because that is so annoying to play against.
It really is, and just the fact that it changes the complete style of the way that you play League of Legends, because it introduces such an interesting niche strategy because of the champion himself. And looking like everybody just kind of wants to play it safe right now, I'm really interested on what these jungle paths are going to be in this early game and where they want to affect, because we saw a lot of focus, and we kind of called it out last game, from Skidz on the bottom side of the map and Silverwing on the top side. Does that change this time around? Do we see more focus on this bot side from both teams? I'm really interested in this.
Well, they were fairly bot lane heavy focus last time. I am interested by the combo actually on Dialysis. Being able to proc that might be a little bit difficult, but if you can get that rolling, the healing will be nice.
And to be honest, this top lane is going to be very interesting because it's kind of up in the air. You do see a lot of Singed going more tanky, and it can do really well against the Alawi as well. So that top lane is going to be something we need to keep an eye on, although it's probably going to be an island for most of the time, unless Kung Fu wants to try and get this Alawi ahead for these late game team fights.
Something that you used to see Singed doing was buy triple Dark Seal. We'll see if they go for that as well. A little bit of a poke down actually under there. Gets a nice little bit of a trade down. Fairly easy start for the junglers here. They've both now taken their double buffs. Need to play up to that top side of the map. They've got about 40 seconds for that first Scuttles to spawn on the top side.
And Singed already making the roam down towards the enemy jungle, and you see what that brings. I mean, he put a deep ward towards that blue as well, so he's going to have vision of where Jarvan wants to go if he's going to try to go to that top lane. And you see that they are committing a ton of vision towards the top side of the map for the side of Skidz, and that's meaning that they're going to put a priority towards that area as well.
Yeah, last game Dialis got caught out a little bit in the early game. The Zenith Blade has been proc there, trading back a little bit in the bottom lane, but that's just a little bit of a love tap. Nothing too much going to come on that. Flip coming up onto the top side there, but has full stacks with that corrupting potion. So just trading back there. Actually, Singed losing out on the war of attrition here versus the Alawi in the early game. Potentially expected.
An action going across the board here.
Oh, they're coming down onto the bottom lane here. That's going to be first blood down. The Ignite comes down for Humanity having to... Last auto attack coming there, but here's the Jarvan. Kung Fu's in the matchup. Flashed onto there. The Chaperone having to run back to the tower, but he's going to fall there over to a double.
And that's some good gold going over. Festivus.
Singed is down. Singed is down.
Oh man, and that feels bad going down that early, and it's taking the same story that we just saw last game, Rook. It's 3-1 at 4 minutes in favor of Silverwing, and they're able to put their pressure onto the map and really affect all these lanes. Arch in the mid lane though.
Yeah, just falcing away there, Ignite. Nice pressure there from Knight, but they need a winning matchup, right? Like, they just lost the fight bottom. They lost the fight top as well. Festivus just being able to conserve his mana there. He's going to have to recall, but that's already Singed down. Like, he's burnt his teleport.
He does have the regeneration, though, to do well in the sustain, but he has to be careful taking those trades. Good timing for Arch on the Corki there in the mid lane. It could have been really bad, but here we are. Delal's trying to go in.
Yeah, running out of mana as well. After this wave, he's going to have to recall into the mid lane. Though Naive's doing really well for himself. Going to have a farm. He's going to actually potentially be able to deny this wave unless the Jarvan comes up to help him. Kung Fu might have to just do that. Arch looking a little bit temperamental. The Ignite down though means the kill pressure isn't quite there. But this is looking good for the early game for the Screechers again.
It really is, and this bot lane is a little bit more up in the air because you do have Humanity who's still playing very well on the Xayah and is up in farm right now, at least in the beginning of the game. And you haven't seen much effect from Sylas. It does look like Sylas is coming in for a lane gank, but I don't know if it's going to work out for him. But we'll have to see if he's able to pull something off here.
Yeah, wave just kind of gonna be stopped. Not in the ideal place. Definitely gonna be overextended. Probably gonna have to burn that flash if the Zenith Blade does pop onto that Misfortune. But I think he is actually just wasting his time here a little bit. Unless they do look to play aggressively. Just trading back the wave back and forth.
And just to look at the time spent down here in the bot lane as
yeah, the flash comes forward but traded there onto the Misfortune. Couldn't quite come in. Now the root comes back onto Chaperone.
And meanwhile, you look at the top and Kung Fu is going into his jungle and is going to take a lot of the farm up there as well, knowing that the jungle is still towards that bot lane. And unfortunately, Naive on the Kiana can't really do much about it. In a pretty bad position in the mid lane right now as well.
Yeah, Dialis actually going to pop his Insanity Potion there, having to run away again. Doesn't have teleport to get back to the lane, so he's definitely going to be missing out a little bit of farm on this wave. Festivus hasn't even backed yet.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I was just about to point out as well. But looking up here towards this jungle lead that Kung Fu has done, we saw the same thing coming from him last game, just being able to affect the map in multiple different ways and still putting pressure on Jalingo. We haven't seen the Sylas be very effective until this point, and he is down on farm right now, so he's looking to farm up as much as he can. But we'll have to see if he's going to be able to be a big point in this team comp.
Yeah, that middle chicken camp has a lot of experience and gold attached to it, so stealing that away from the failed gank in the bottom lane. Getting that flash down onto the MF does mean that you kind of need to go back there and punish that cooldown. Available Knight, potentially looking for something in the mid lane. Jiango's there as well, but the Valkyrie away, gonna mean that not a lot happens. Flash still intact.
And really just good play coming out there from Arch, really, in that mid lane. So far in this entire series as well. But we did see Jalingo try and come accomplish something. He is trying to find some pressure in these lanes. He just hasn't been able to successfully do anything yet. But he is looking to farm the rest of his blue side jungle and then look to gank somewhere or finish his item as well. You do see the 4 Dark Seal buy coming out of the top.
Looking for the midnight, he's trading his life. He's looking for the all in the live. He just gets the triumph. The last tick of Ignite would have killed him. But that's Naive.
So close to pulling off the play, just wasn't able to. And just like I was saying before we saw the action, 4 Dark Seals bought for Dallas in that top lane.
Yeah, I mentioned the 3 buy. The 4 buy is definitely investing into this early game very, very heavily. Taz actually looking to steal that away, but that's going to get smited. Kung Fu maybe going to look to trade back.
Oh, no.
Dragon Dragon's there. He's actually going to pop the plant to deny him. He's back into the bush. He's got the red buff, actually. He's going to be able to put the slow there. The Valk comes out. He actually had the package, I think, as he double vapped over. He is going to get away, but that's another Insanity Potion not available.
I can't believe that he just got out of that. Good play from Dallas there, being able to maneuver the enemy team, but still interested on the build. Got to see how that's going to work out for him, especially with being down in farm in that top lane. And really right now, we're looking for Kung Fu Dugong to come back out onto the Rift and try and pick up a couple more kills for his team, as we do see first item spikes being gotten for the side of Silverwing, with the warrior being completed for that Jarvan.
With Naive cheating topside to pick up this massive wave that crashed into the tower, like he needed to do that, but that experience lost for the Singe is really going to hurt him in this split push. But they're looking to go into the bottom lane. The knockup's there onto Cez, and he's down. The TP's actually coming through as the root comes down. Chaperone in a world of pain right now. Festivus coming down, smacking onto Giangelos. But that's Humanity trying to get away, rooting there, and that'll just be the disengage 1-for-1 in the trade.
And Taigzo does go down, so you take down the ADC and you give a kill over to the Xayah, who is sitting now with 2 kills under her belt. and that's going to be a lot of gold for her. She just finished the Essence Reaver, getting that power spike over the Miss Fortune, who is still about 600 gold from finishing her first item. And so you've really got to take the moment right now, and you've got to push with the Xayah because she does have that strength.
Yeah, capitalizing on that teleport used by Festivus as well. They really wanted to capitalize on this early Drake. It's a shame it's another Cloud Drake, but that just means more plays can be made around the map with that mobility.
Yeah, and just speed coming out for the Silverwings, and that's going to be the 4th Cloud Drake for them in this series so far. But you got to say, you take objectives where you can get them. If you're getting Cloud Drakes, you're still getting the objectives.
Oh yeah, definitely. Corky's having a nice game as well, working his way over to Trinity Force. Nice little bit of catch-up experience and farm there. Here's the proxy Singe though, but he is behind. He has to be a little bit careful. Jarvan's now cheating up to this top side of the map. The blue's available. Diana should know that.
Yeah, and the slow's going to be coming
actually have the plant. Here is the slow actually. The flag and drag's available as well. Insanity potion and prop, but the lockup is there. Cataclysm down. That is the kill for Kung Fu.
And unfortunate there for Dallas, who's doing so well on the Singe so far. I mean, he is down in farm, but he was doing well at being a nuisance, and that's all you really ask for a Singe to do. But unfortunately, overextends a little too much, thinking a little bit too much of his skill kit. And here we are in the bot lane.
Oh, the depth charge is down, knocking up Humanity. Chaperone now maybe caught a little bit unawares. There's looking to come forward. Zenith Blade not going to land, but the root does there for Humanity.
Kiana looking
behind as well. This is the play, looking for it. That's the kill. One shot on there. Tezos now has to got to cheat back to the tower. No one really wants to tank it. They don't have the minions, but that's the advantage that they needed.
And Taixo unfortunately didn't realize that the mid was missing. Walked into his side of the jungle and just get two-pieced by Naive on the Kiana. And that's just unfortunate when you're doing so well.
Yeah, I have concerns for this Singe, man. He has no HP, he's got no defense. This Alawi is going to win the side lane unless he can keep pressurizing and just clear the wave.
Yeah, and just able to do as much as they can towards this bot lane when they can, especially now that the item has been picked up there for the MF. So you're on about the same power level as each other. You've just got a little bit more momentum as humanity on the Xayah. And so we're looking to see if they can really take advantage of that.
Yeah, Kung Fu Dugong also having a really good early game yet again. Going for that warrior, trying to finish that Black Cleaver. Gonna be very rich on the map. Is the most gold efficient currently, over 5k right now, so doing very well. Looking for the bottom tower for the plates.
And that's going to be a ton of gold given over to Silverwing. And going over to that MF as well, who has been a little bit lackluster so far in this game, but is able to pull together this lethality build and is going to do a lot towards that mid game. So even if, I mean, that's the tale of ADCs in this day and age, is the fact that you can get behind early on, but you can play these hyper late game carries and really carry your team to the mountaintop towards the later half of the game.
Yeah, but if that does happen, you need to be dedicated resources in the mid game. You do have the opportunity to be able to do that, so you can get punished if you do go that late game carry and don't have license to in the early game. But the flash forward here for Dallas, they are looking for the Alawi in the 2v1. He's going to get taken down, Naive there, but in the bottom lane, the Chaperone's having to run away. Humanity is now in the line of fire, abandoned by the Chaperone, and this will be the bottom lane tower falling.
And just tons of gold going over the side of Silverwing. They're able to take down the first turret, get a ton of damage on the top turret as well. And the only thing that was going there for Skidz was maybe picking off Arch in that top lane, a little bit overextended with Jolingo there, but they don't go for it, and they just lose out the first tower without taking anything in return.
Yeah, exactly. Now they can reset onto the map, put pressure up onto the top side, move Tezos forward up here to this last little slither here. Django looking forward. Nice dodge out from March though. He is slowed. Gets the Valkyrie away. Shots coming down onto Giangelo with the ult. Can't get in anymore, so you see Diaz can't get close. And that'll be the end, but Festivus may be looking for something.
And just the way that they're playing this top lane is so interesting there for Dallas. He is playing on the knife's edge there, being pretty low.
Tasers.
He's in the mid lane.
And of course, there the Chaperone's been pulled in. Dreadline in the Zenith blade to his death. The Chaperone gonna take a bullet time as well. He's gonna fall. This means that the dragon's up. It's gonna be an ocean spawning right now.
And the goal lead is again in favor of the side of Silverwing. Naive going in.
Absolutely bonked and Naive's there in the mid.
And just the damage coming through from Kiana shows why they made this pick such a priority, especially in this series. And you do have an Ocean Dragon up now, which I do think is going to be heavily contested by both teams.
Yeah, you do have a strong Xayah with that Essence Reaver. Had a fairly good early game as well. Has that CS advantage. AD carry down. Gone for that penetration as well. Looking for that early game prey. Does just fall to Naive though. Nice online with the Trinity, Force here with the Corki, so Archer's looking strong.
Yep, and they're coming right down this way. Misfortune is lagging behind just a little bit, but they do have vision around, so they're able to know if they want to start this or if not. Now you do have Xayah making her way down as well, and J4 coming to join. So I do expect in the next minute or so we will have a contest over this dragon.
Yeah, currently it's Skidz with the priority of the river though, so that's very nice for them if they can get a nice choke point and try making a play off that. There's a Ghostblade pot, actually just trying to look away. Hook just goes wide there for Taser, but now they're marching into the river, looking for the pressure, looking for that vision.
And it's just so scary to pull the trigger on these fights here for both teams, because you still are at that point where, yeah, Silverwing does have a lead, but they can easily give it up, just like we saw last game, very, very quickly. So you've got to be careful on your trigger pulls and make sure that the team fight that you're about to take is going to go in your favor. And that comes down to positioning, as we do see the dragon burn down there by Skidz.
Yeah, that's an interesting tactic actually, because they dropped the Rift Herald, but they didn't use it for tower pressure. They used it to draw the enemy in and then rotate to dragon, so they picked up the Ocean Drake for the expense of using the Rift. So that was quite a nice play for them, getting a little bit of a lead for themselves and trading that objective for something positive.
Yeah, and I gotta say, using it on the tower would have been beneficial, but I don't believe that they would have had an opportunity to. They don't have enough pressure on the map right now, so they're not really able to use the Rift Herald to its full extent. So I do agree that taking that trade is
Kung Fu's in, flashing forward, trying to get Naive flashes back as well. Sorry, the Alice now having to run back. The depth charge is on. The bullet time is strong. Manatee's out of the fight. Kung Fu picks up the kill on the Alice.
And just a wonderful team fight there coming out of Silverwing. They really pulled the trigger on the teleport to come down and really help their team in that mid lane. Now, I do want to see a little bit more come out of this. They need to use what they just did and take advantage of it. But right now, they're waiting on the minions for this mid lane tower.
Yeah, they'll get this mid lane tower though. Kung Fu actually looking forward. They are going to flash for that. The flash comes down. Kung Fu's overextended there. That's a big shutdown. It's onto the Leona. Chaperone gonna pick up that, but 800 gold. Now Naive's looking for something. What can he find? Archer's there as well. It's a 4-man stack here for Silverwing. Now they're gonna back up, having taken that tower. A little bit overextended there. Shutdown going over to the support.
And good plays even from the side of Skidz. Being able to pull that back a little bit. They did lose the tower, but they were able to trade back, catching Kung Fu out unawares a little bit.
Oh, Naive's absolutely gone for the win right now. Flash away from Tazo, though, he gets flipped into the party. Ignite not quite gonna... Oh, it is gonna turn down a bit Alice. Now Humanity trying to look for something. Forces a flash. Gets a kill onto the Corki. That's Arch down into the play. Django's gonna look for a little bit more, maybe. What can Humanity do? Gonna get locked up. Gets the triple. Has to kite away from there, but Chaperone's there to kite, and now they're going back in. Festivus gonna miss out on the shadow there, but they've got the minion wave, they've got the pressure, and this is the turnaround that Skidz needed.
This is, and they're coming back into this game. They were able to take advantage of the misstep there by the side of Silverwings. Unfortunately, misstep there by Jalingo gets taken down, and honestly, it's funny to see both teams falling to the same issue. earlier, just a couple minutes ago, we saw the side of Silverwing fall under the tier 2 tower when they still had a tier 1 on the other side. And then again, we see Jalingo go a little bit too far in. So I get it that both these teams want to make this game happen and want to make these big profile plays, but you've got to be careful that you're not overstepping because you're getting back into this game. And as the side of Skidz, you don't want what happened last game to happen again this game, where you were so close to pulling it back, but one mistake caused you to lose it.
Yeah, the plus side for Skidz, though, is that they have a very strong Xayah right now. 5-2-2, finished off 2.5 items, gonna be accelerated to an early IE as well for the triple crit. Really nice power spikes coming out of them.
And just a ton of damage coming across. I really think that these damage dealers are going to be doing so much. And when you look at this double ADC comp for Silverwings, it scares you a little bit because they are ahead. You've got a 3-1-1 Corki with 170 farm. And meanwhile, you have a lethality Misfortune. When you get those into a team fight, it gets scarier by the moment. But here we are in the top lane, Naive.
Naive gonna have to look to play around the ring, around the Rosie. Actually, he's got a Valk out. Kung Fu goes golden. Bullet time gonna try and pick up a kill, but Humanity gets another one. Now he's looking to go in onto Tazo. Has to back away. That's gonna be the fight.
And that's a 1-for-1. Kung Fu going down with the little misdirection there from Kiana, and a red buff going over to Humanity, which is gonna be a nice little buff there for the Xayah.
Yeah, the lack of CC potential maybe coming into effect here. Not able to quite lock down Naive for long enough. And slips through the fingers.
And looking at these items coming up here for these teams, you have third items coming up for a few of these members, especially the Xayah being very close to that 3-item power spike. And when you get to that point on the Xayah, it becomes so much fun to fling out your feathers and murder an entire team with the recall. And so you've got to be careful in these team fights, which is one thing I've noticed both of these teams kind of lacking, at least, is the awareness during the team fight for things under you. Because we've seen a lot of skill shots be gotten taken care of because there's no attention being paid. But when you have these feathers gathering up under you and then all of a sudden a recall comes through, it's so damaging. But here, Tal's being taken down super low.
That wasn't even a fight. He just got hooked and now he's gone. He's just got no defense. With the Boots of Swiftness and the Rhino Scepter, like he can slow the team, but he can't tank for the team. That's given away the pressure. Another one comes out for Festivus as well. It's going to be Chaperone having a little bit of trouble. They try to turn with the Solar Flare. Doesn't find anything. Now, Taser's maybe looking forward as well. Kung Fu Panda doesn't find a flag and drag as well. But now the Chaperone's gone low. Festivus into the front line, tanking it up. But here we go. Here's the Silverwing Screechers trying to clean up the fight. Humanity having to run away. Featherstorm blocked there, but the bullet time will absolutely crush his spirits. And it's Dialis now having to run away, who started that play by getting caught out a little bit into the front line. Just doesn't have that stats behind him. He's the one behind.
And what was I just talking about? The double ADC composition coming through alive there for Silverwing. And so much damage coming through when you play that front-to-back teamfight style. You saw Nautilus pinned right in front of the Corki and the Misfortune, and they did not get any damage done to them whatsoever that entire fight. And now Silverwing is looking to push this Baron down and force a contest.
Yeah, exactly. The test of spirits coming out from Festivus proving very invaluable to the team. Able to chunk out the tanks. Like, as I said, like, it's double assassin. You've only got Singe as your frontline. Leona, yes, is a frontliner, but on a support budget, isn't exactly going to be that beat line. Definitely from behind to get that one shut down. But you're really looking for Humanity to be able to deal the consistent damage to match that of the Corki and the MF.
Well, right now, that's your only saving grace, is that you do have the Xayah, who has shown up in both of these games so far, sitting at a 30 CS lead over her opponent, and just about at that 3-item spike that we were talking about. And you've got to be able to play around her. I feel like every one of these teamfights, Skidz hasn't focused their team play around the Xayah and just kind of letting her do her thing. But it's not working out so far, and Naive just might Getting away with a fancy feed, but
that was close. That was close. Could have. Oh, you just see Diallo just gets absolutely shredded by Arch. Like he's in no pressure from getting flipped at all there. Really has license around the map.
And I'm honestly surprised they aren't pressuring this mid a little bit more. Obviously, you want a little bit more minion wave for you, but I do think they have the damage to be able to take this. You do have Corki just split pushing in the top lane, where Singe is supposed to be king, but right now Corki is that king.
I don't think he can match him really. Like he could just theoretically all in him. Arch Valky over the wall here. Now Chaperone's coming up, and that means that you've got numbers in the mid lane. He's going to get sort of flared down. He will fall, but it's the mid lane where the pressure is. That tower falls. They can't get the objective. Can those two collapse down to the 4-man unit? Can they force the 5v5? Will they overstay? Festivus looking for something. Kung Fu in the front line now. The flash forward. He's now being caught that GA is going to be procs. He's just going to be fallen to the wayside. But there is the Zenith Blade forcing the flash out. Taizo forced away.
Unfortunate for the team getting stuck there in the Cataclysm, but good play coming out there from Skidz, able to pick out 2 members of the enemy team and really start pressuring down this mid lane. It looks like they want to try and take this tower or get a little bit more.
Yeah, this was really actually surprising bullet time just to try and clear the Superman, or the Baron up minions, as it were. They really want to try and get a push on with this advantage, but Kung Fu's going to be respawning in 15 minutes. They don't really have side lane pressure as well, so they need to respond to that.
Yeah, and the Baron buff is still on a few members of this Silverwing team, so you still got to be careful of overextending. I mean, that's been the name of the game so far this time around, is that everybody that's been getting caught is just overextending and costing their team so much. But if you play more defensively and you play for these late game team fights, I feel like both these teams can do better. But we'll have to see if they keep getting caught out or if they're able to kind of pull it back together. Like we were talking about, the main name of the game for these two teams is really protect the ADCs. I mean, you have double ADCs on the side of Silverwing, which is a little bit easier to protect, especially with the composition you've formed around it. But for the side of Skidz, you've got to get that Xayah into those fights, and you've got to protect her, because that is the only way you're going to be taking down all 5 members of Silverwing, is if you get a really good recall on those feathers from the Xayah.
Exactly, as you say, you just need to body block, use that CC advantage that you have in the team. Make sure that Silas is using that ult, like potentially getting bullet time as well. Oh, here Kung Fu going in. Chaperone gonna look to fall here. Taizo gonna pick that up as well. Diana's having trouble in the top lane as a result. But that's pressure over. That's potentially Dragon spawning fairly soon as well, that they're hovering around trying to look for pressure. But a collapse onto Alawi looks in them.
It does, but is she gonna be able to take them all?
Oh, Diana just has to run away. He's gone. He's been popped. Naive now looking for a bit of a piece. Here's Humanity looking for something. He too see Diana's fall. So that is a 1v1 in a theoretical 4v1. A lot of pressure in the bottom side. There's going to be the Dragon down. There's going to be Arch in the bottom lane as well. They're losing so much across the map.
They really are, and you take an inch, you lose a mile. That's 2 times now that they commit so much to that top lane, but lose a lot of the rest of the map because of it. The first time around against that Corki, this time against the true split pusher in the Alawi, where you leave the double ADCs on the rest of the map. And that first play where Corki was split pushing was a little bit weird. I understand it because in the moment it worked out. But now having the Alawi back in the split push role in that top lane and having your double ADCs with your full composition towards the rest of the map, you can do a lot more. As we saw just then when they took the tower, they were able to take the objectives as well and really come out on top in that trade.
Yeah, map assignments now for Silverwing. Put your Alawi into the bottom lane, keep her split pushing with that teleport, ready to get to Baron, which is going to be respawning fairly soon. Naive may be looking for a pick. Caught onto Tazo. That is going to be the shutdown onto there. That is great for Skidz. Now they look to need to find purchase on the map. Get that vision up. See if they can find anything else.
And again, Taizo getting caught out. The ADC of the team just not able to keep it together, doesn't have the communication with his team, and it's unfortunate to see him go down. But for Skidz, this is your moment of glory. You have Baron coming up. You can take a fight if you need to, because it is a 4v5 and one of the stronger members is down on the enemy team. And you still have Humanity, who is just dominating these damage boards right now.
Yeah, I would say unfortunately the Baron wasn't up because they could look to theoretically turn for that and try and take that fight if they wanted to. Ilaoi doesn't have flash, so can't really have a massive impact on the team fight, just has to trade into that front line. So maybe that was their window. But now it's spawned, now they're looking for something.
Well, and you could see originally, I mean, it hadn't spawned, but you saw it was coming up in the next minute or so. So they had positioned some vision around there. Now you see a ton of health being taken off of humanity by Arch there, and that's just showing a ton of damage coming out of that ADC there.
That was one Triforce proc right there in the face. But without lifesteal, going for that quadra crit, it is very nice damage, but lifesteal a little bit limited. Does have that little bit from the Orange Blade, so we'll be able to heal that off the wave, but needs access to that wave to be able to do that.
Well, and we see 3 members backing there for the side of Skidz, and it does look like Silverwing just want to burn it down.
Yeah, this is missed time, and TP coming out for the Sins as well. Already down. Now they're looking to come in. Chaperone landing the solar flare onto really no, but Tizer trying to tank up the front line as well. The Baron's doing a lot of damage, but the fight swinging back and forth here as humanity has to flash out the back of the pit. It's looking like chaos, but I tell you who the winner is. It's Silverwing Screamers going forward, flashing forward, getting that ace, looking for the wave now in the middle, and they'll be pushing forward with Baron.
They want to end this game right now. They don't want another story of taking the game 10 minutes too far. They want to prove that they can close this game out. And what a fight from them indeed. Just great team play across the board. We saw humanity stuck on the other side of the Baron pit for almost that entire fight and wasn't able to do anything for his team. And that spelled the doom for Skidz and this series in a whole.
Yeah, exactly. Playing the harder to execute comp, not quite being able to succeed. Having that damage backed out, the Ilaoi so much pressure in the side waves as well. You saw that damage coming out of the Corki. Arch playing very nicely in that second game as well. Closing that game out and the series 2-0 to Silverwing Screechers.
And just great play all around in both games there from the side of Silverwing. First game definitely was a little bit scary, but they still had it in their hand. And for them to lose the entire time. And a lot of the same for this game as well. You did see a rise for the side of Skidz, who really were able to put some work into this game and give them a run for their money. But still, in the end, Silverwing were able to close it out with some good, great consecutive team fights and really communication across the board, I feel like is the main story here for the side of Silverwing.
Yeah, exactly. And Lemon, how do you think the Singe pick worked out for Skidz?
So I'm not gonna lie. He did say in the chat beforehand that he was a monster Singe, so I was expecting some really good stuff coming out of him. It did not work out for him in the slightest in that top lane, unfortunately, where Festivus just really had his number, and I feel like that's kind of the story of that top lane in this game right now, in these 2 games at least. Is Dallas tried, but it wasn't able to pull it out in the top lane. So you definitely have to work on those picks a little bit more, or find some more counters, counter playability there. But in general, I mean, I do see good things coming out of Skidz. I think you saw a lot of good micro there in lanes, especially humanity, and then bottom lane on the Xayah. Both games really just playing phenomenally, even though they did lose. But you do have good coming out from both teams. Now, I do expect them to look over this footage very heavily because of what happened in these games. But you can use it as a leaping board, I guess, to get into the next week with something a little bit more positive.
Yeah, exactly, Lemons. Hopefully we'll see them again. That'll be week 3 coming up next Saturday. I thoroughly enjoyed the game though. 2-0 over Silverwing Screechers. Phenomenal performance from them. That was week 2 of the Dominate Open League from Risen Esports. Thank you very much for casting with me, Lemons.
Of course, and just happy to be here with Risen. Glad to see some good League of Legends, and just happy for this organization and all the community feedback and the love that we get on a daily basis. So thank you everybody for staying tuned in and sticking to these games with us, and we'll see you next week.